In this video, we're going to be talking about the Bowtech Convergence and the AV and the BV draw stops and what they do for the bow. We're going to go over how to install them, how to adjust them. We'll also talk about some real world numbers from this bow, a couple interesting things that I found out while testing this bow that you may be interested in. If you've gone and shot this bow, maybe you didn't like it, or if you own one and are looking for a little more adjustability on the bow, stick around. For the Bowtech Convergence, we offer two separate sizes. We offer the AV, which are the smaller ones, and the BV, which are the larger ones. We also offer a Pro Pack, which has both the AV and the BV in the pack, plus one set of mounting hardware. Each set includes two felt pads for putting on your limbs for protection and two mounting screws. The AVs, or the smaller of the two, they include the same size as the factory, which we would have as the AV with 4 dots. They will also go smaller than the factory, so essentially these are going to be the stops you're going to use to give your bow more let off. Now the BVs will do either one. We can long peg with the BVs and continue our let off from the AVs, or we can just put them in the same hole as the AVs were and increase our holding weight on the bow. We'll go over more of this in real world examples, but for now, let's go ahead and get rid of the original stops and put the new ones on. One other note is that each set includes 2 stops, so you'll have a stop for your top limb and your bottom limb. You don't necessarily have to use them both, but if you really want that firm wall, you will be using them both. Otherwise, you could use one and have another spare. We're now looking at the top cam of the bow. From the factory, the bow came with one draw stop, and that draw stop is installed on your top cam. Our kits include 2 stops. If you decide to install the second stop, which is optional, install it the same way that we go over installing the stop on the top cam. So to get started, we need to do a little craft project. If you've watched some of our other videos or used some of our other products, you know that we can line the stops up by simply using a card and a module. With the limb stops, we can't do this because the stop actually stops on your limb. So how do we line up the limb to the side of the stop that we want to use? That's why we're going to do a craft project to begin with. We're going to replicate the limb so we can roll that limb around and locate our stop. The first thing we want to do is just get a piece of craft paper, business card, doesn't matter, and we're going to cut a V in it. Doesn't have to be perfect, just going to cut a V. The V should be big enough that it fits over the bushing of the cam. The white bushing in there. We're going to simply place that card just like that, so that V engages that bushing and our card lays across the limb. We're going to take a pencil and we're just going to trace the limb out. Now we're going to cut that line that we just traced. So now we've made a template of the limb and how it's going to contact our stop. This works by placing it in on the bushing, and we can curl this right around. As long as we keep it tight to the bushing, that replicates where our stop hits our limb. It is important that we do this because our limb's curved and we have a curved surface on the stop, either the factory stop or one of our stops. For the factory stop, it does not matter how it's lined up. So the second thing we want to do with the stop in the position that we are going to use, this bow is set at 29 inches, we're going to just make a mark where it touches that stop. We're going to use that mark for one thing, and that's just for installing the felt pad on your limb. So we rotate this back, and you can see where that mark crosses that limb. That's going to be the center of where we put our felt. Now let's go ahead and put the felt on. We want to put the edge of the felt aligned with the inside edge of the limb, and we also want to put it in the position that we found with our jig. And in this bow, It's that mark of the camouflage. We want to put about the center in where you cross the where your mark crossed the limb, because your stops might hit a little in front or a little behind it. So that'll give us the most forgiveness. Now we're not done with the jig you made yet. You want to hang on to this, and you'll probably want to keep this with your package of stops. Put your factory stop back in the package that the stops came with, and keep this, because you're going to use this for installing and adjusting the stops. Anytime you make an adjustment, it's easiest to use this. You can do it on a drawboard. There's no problem doing it on there, but this is just a lot simpler than having to put it on a drawboard and do it. Okay, now let's go ahead and get rid of this old stop. First thing we're going to do is look at the bow and confirm that it is indeed on 29 inches, like I said. And if we zoom in down here, this mark on your module is lined up with 29 inches. So the bow is set at 29. And our stop, if we look at that, currently the factory stop is in at 29 inches. We're going to set this bow up with the AV, and that we're going to set it on 4 dots. And that is the equivalent to setting the bow up as it was from the factory. You're going to have a firmer wall by eliminating the rubber and using the AV stop. Also, you have the ability to put the second stop on the bottom to really give yourself a firm wall. The other thing the AV is going to do is it's going to allow us to create more let off on the bow. So if you feel the bow is a little bit too jumpy, the AV is a stop for you. We just unscrew the old stop. This screw we're not going to reuse. Screws came with the package for the stops. We're going to confirm that we're going to put the bolt in the number 29 position, because again our module is set at 29. And we're going to thread the new stop on. Now the stops can really only go on one way. This counter bore on this side of the cam is bigger than the counter bore over here. This counter bore is for the heads. The other side is for the stop. Now that we have it mounted, we can still rotate the stop, but there is some friction there. We're going to use our jig again, and that jig is going to replicate our limb. We want to set it up again on the bushing, and what we want to do is we're going to set this one to the 4 dot side. There's dots on each side signifying the size. The less dots, the smaller. So the 4 dots again is the same as the factory. On the front side, we have a 9/64 socket cut into it, and that'll allow us to rotate that stop into the right position. And if you look, you can see how the radius of the stop is going to touch the radius of the limb tangent. It's not on the edge like that or that. It's on its tangent somewhere. Now it can be off a little bit. It doesn't have to be exactly perfect, because all of our stops, the center of this radius is the center of the bolt. So it makes it a lot more forgiving when you install it. So we want to hold the front with the 9/64 and put the 3/32 in the back. Again, we'll double check our alignment. And we'll tighten it down. After we've got it tight, we want to check again, and it looks good. So now we've installed the stop to the factory position. What you would do is you go ahead to the bottom cam, do the same thing on that cam, and go shoot the bow. You should notice a firmer wall with this stop. Other than that, the let off will be about the same, your draw length's about the same. So now that we have it set at the factory position, let's say we went out and shot it and we want to be a little bit longer with the draw length, or we want maybe a little more valley in the bow. When we start relaxing in our shot, the bow wants to jump on us. We don't like that. We want to be able to relax a little bit more in that shot. What we can do then is go to a shorter side of the stop. We're on the 4 dots. Let's say we want to try the 2 dot side. It's very easy to adjust. We just put the Allen wrenches in, loosen it up a little bit, and adjust it to that 2 dot side. Again, we take our template, we put it back onto the axle, check our positioning, and we will tighten it down. Again, we would do this for both the top and the bottom cam, and we'd go out and shoot it. If we want it more, we could go all the way down to the 1 dot side. If we want it less, we can go to the 3 dot side. So let's say we've gone through and we've used up, we're all the way down to the 1 dot on the AV, and we still don't have enough valley. What happens when we've gone through all the adjustments, we've got down to the 1 dot side of the AV, and we're still not quite happy with it. We still don't have enough let off. Then what we're going to do is long peg the bow. We're going to use the BV, and we're going to actually go into the 1 hole longer than our stop currently is. So we're set at 29 inches. The BV will go into the 29.5 inch. Now typically with our stops, and our diameters increase incrementally, so there is no difference, or there is a difference of the same amount between the AV 4 dots and the BV 1 dot. It steps up the same size as if it was all in the same dot. What happens in this case though is that our stops overlap. When we put the BV in a 29.5 or the 1/2 inch longer slot, the 4 dot side of the BV is about equal to the 3 dot side of the AV, and the 3 dot side is about equal to the AV 4 dots. So you really only have about 2 more adjustments left when we long peg with the BV. Now if you know you're going to want a lot more valley than what the bow has right now, then you might as well go ahead and just order the BVs and plan on long pegging it. I'll show you how it looks in the long peg mode. So this would actually be what it would look like. The next step after the AV 1 dot would be the BV with 2 dots, but we are long pegged. So again, we're tangent to the limb, and if we look on the other side, we're now in the 29.5 inch. So we would have 1 more longer spot on this one, and then we would start again with the AV on the 4 dot. And I think by the time you get through it, you're gonna find a spot you like. Like I said, if you have the bow currently and you know you want a lot more valley, you're not going to want just a little tweak, you're going to want a fair amount more valley, then I would go ahead and order the BVs right away. Other than that, you could order them as a kit, then you have that whole range. Everything we've talked about so far is all about adding a little valley to the bow, giving it a little more draw length, increasing the let off so you're holding a little less weight. But what happens if you want to go the other way and you actually want to shorten this guy up and increase the holding weight? Then we would start with the BV, but we would run it in the same setting as the module. So this is a 29 inch bow. We would run the BV 1 dot in the 29 inch hole for the stop. And that's how it would look set up to shorten the draw length. Again, our module is on 29 and our peg is on 29, and we have started with the BV with the 1 dot side, which is the smallest side of it. If we want to go shorter, we go to 2, 3, and 4. I don't think you're going to be doing that with this bow, but that is the option that you have. Let's go over a couple numbers. Again, we have the Bowtech Convergence, It's set at 68 pounds and it's 29 inches in draw length. And it's on a comfort. So I did quite a few numbers for this bow. It would probably bore you if I went through all of them, so I'm going to try and give you a brief breakdown of it. Now this bow, originally I didn't think it was a real high priority to do stops for this bow, but one of the dealers said to me that the bow just doesn't have the let off that it should. And so I picked the bow up, shot it a few times, and I kind of agreed. It was kind of a lot more aggressive style bow than I was expecting out of a adjustable bow, kind of geared for either up and coming archers or archers that are getting older and might need to start turning their bow down. So it was pretty simple. You know, basically we came up with a stop that allows us to let that cam roll over a little further and get a little more valley in it. And when I do some of these numbers, what you're going to notice is that there's a definite point where the bow drops off into an actual valley. And it just kind of seems like to me that Bowtech kind of missed the mark on here when they made either their draw stop diameter or they decided where to put their stops. They have to choose something. They did the best they could do. Like I said, I think they got it off a little bit, but that's my feeling of it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to install, we'll look at what the factory stops did. And with the factory stops, with the 68 pounds on comfort, you are holding 9.3 pounds. So that's not bad. I don't think that's bad. It's you know, we're going to call it a 70-pound bow. That felt fair. Like I said, it was still a little more on the jumpy side. The leg on this bow is not too bad. At 8.5 pounds, it started going forward. You didn't really feel that. That's I thought the back side of it actually feels pretty good that way. So when we install the AV stop at 4 dots, it's the same as the factory again. So we're at 9.3, and this is the same. It's the last time we're going to see that number. And our draw length stayed the same. Now what changes, this is with 2 stops. We'll go to 2 stops. And what changes is the firmness of the back wall. When we add a pound on the back wall with the factory stops, the bow moved 1/8 of an inch. With the 2 stops installed, it moved 5 thousandths. So that is 2 hairs. That's all your string actually moved when you added a pound drawing that bow back. When you added 5 pounds onto the draw weight, so now we're, instead of pulling 9.3 pounds, we're pulling 14.3. The bow moved almost 1/4 inch. So the limb stop feel is kind of not there, and that's due to the big rubber and only having a stop on the top. At 5 pounds extra with the 2 stops of the A4s on AVs on 4 dots, the bow only moved 50 thousandths, less than 1/16 of an inch. That's your draw length. So it's rock solid with two of our stops on it. Our draw lengths went down. So what we would do is we go to 3 dots, 2 dots, 1 dot, and our holding weight at 3 dots, I'm sorry, this is 9.6 pounds. Our holding weight went down to I got a lot of numbers here. Our holding weight went down to 9.4, 9.14, 8.8. So we're starting to reduce the holding weight. Again, this is not a bad holding weight for a 68-pound bow. Our draw length shortened up approximately 1/16 of an inch per time. So 1/8, and 3/16. So after we're done with the AVs, then we talked about long pegging, and then we go to the BVs, but those are ran on the 29.5 inch position. And our results off of the BVs, I'm going to skip the 4 dot, 3 dot, because that is about equal to this. We're going to go to 2 dot and 1 dot. And with the 2 dots, we're down to 8.2 pounds, and 1 dot, we're down to 8.1 pounds. And we went down 1/4 of an inch here total, and then 3/8. So it started taking a little bigger jumps, and that has to do with the profile of the module. And then again, we would go at 29.5, we would go to the AV, and then I just went to 4 dots, and I didn't continue down any further, and that's still at 8.2 pounds, and that was about 7/16 shorter. So that kind of gives you an idea of at 68 pounds how that bow is going to roll over when we're using the stops. Now I doubt if most of you are even shooting this bow at 68 pounds, and that's not the bow that I shot originally when I decided, we should really do stops for this. I shot the bow at 50 pounds, 29 inches, and comfort. And here's the interesting thing that I was telling you about. The factory stops at 29 inch position again, they had a holding weight 10.2 pounds. So, and the secondary, the leg on that was not bad either. It was 9.2. Well, it's a pound, but you really don't feel it that much. So you look at a 50-pound bow, you're holding 10.2 pounds. A 68-pound bow, you're holding 9.6 pounds. So something was a little weird, and that's why the bow feels a little bit different when you start dropping the weight down. The let off does not follow it, so you're actually holding more with a 50-pound bow than a 68-pound bow. So we can fix that though. So again, the AV at 4 dots is the same as the factory, and then we go to the 3 dots, and that drops us, that's still at 10.2. No, sorry. That drops us to the 8.8 already. So there's a critical point in there on that module that we need to hit in order to get our let off that we equaled up here. And at 3 dots with the AV, we're able to do that. 2 dots, see, now it levels out again. 1 dot, 7.4. And our draw lengths shorten up equivalently at 50 pounds as they did here. So I went all the way down again through the same scenario, and at the end, actually I only went down to the BV 1 dot. And this one again would be at 29.5 because this would be in the long peg position. And that took our holding weight down to 7.2, and at 50 pounds it was about 3/8 of an inch shorter. So that's kind of what you can expect if you want to get a 50-pound bow with the lighter holding weight, because I don't know why somebody would want a 50-pound bow and still, I can see why some people would want to do it, but I don't think the customers for this bow are looking to hold a lot of weight. That's why they're looking for a lighter bow. If you want to hold more weight, we can do that. We went in the opposite. This is again back at the 68 pounds. We went the opposite direction, so we're going in the 29-inch hole, and we are going to run the BVs, and this is going to actually shorten the bow a little bit, and we're going to increase our holding weight. So with 1 dot, holding weight went to 10.2. And then the next one at 2 dots went to 11.2, 3 dots went to 12.6, 4 dots went to 13.7. Now I think it gets, maybe, somewhere in here it gets kind of where it's unshootable, because the bow by nature is fairly jumpy. I really like the draw cycle on it. It's super smooth. I actually like the way it wants to go, wants to take off. It's not terrible, but for the average shooter, it might be a little much. So I did do, this is all on comfort, and I did do performance on this bow, and I did it at 68 pounds and 29 inches. And what you have to remember is when you go to performance with this bow, it might not be true across the board. This particular bow, the performance, it adds a little draw length to it. It's probably about 3/8 of an inch longer than what it runs it there just by flipping that disc. So you need to remember that when you decide to run a performance. And the factory stop position, the holding weight was at 11.25 pounds. So on this particular bow, when you're in the performance mode, you're going to be holding a little more weight. And the leg on it wasn't too bad. It was 10.5. You really didn't feel it. This 11.25 under performance is very jumpy. A lot of people have a hard time shooting this bow on performance. We get into the 3 dots. So that was 4 dots with the AV on the 29 inch. We get into the 3 dots, and that dropped us down to 9.9 pounds of holding weight. 2 dots, 9.2, and 1 dot, 8.5, and then we go into 29.5 with the BVs. So we're long pegging now, and I'm going to skip right to the 2 dots because the BVs would overlap this. And at 2 dots we had 8.7. So, and at 1 dot, 8.5, and we're total here, we're really only adding 200 thousandths, so like 3/16 they're going to call it. And up here it's moving less than a 1/16 each increment down. So that kind of goes over the numbers. I'd say if you're going to shoot this bow on performance, I would order the BVs right away, because this starts getting to be where you can actually hold that bow. The bow's hard to hold here. There's definitely a spot in here that you want to be in. I mean, you want to, 11.25 is not a high number to hold, but the way the bow drops into the valley is about like that. And I would say your factory stops are up in here somewhere, where if it's the comfort, you drop it into the valley a little more like that, and your factory stops are up in here. So you can, it's not wanting to take off on you as bad on the comfort mode as the performance. That's my 2 cents on it. You obviously have to shoot the bow and make up your own mind as to what you want to do, but these numbers should give you kind of an idea of what to expect out of the stops. Again, thanks for watching. I really thought the Convergence was a really nice bow. It's a smooth draw on it. I do feel there's a little bit of an issue with the stops that they have on, or where they're actually stopping the bow, and that's not really a sales pitch. It's kind of just the way it is. If you're out testing this bow, if you're just looking at this video for information, and you test it and you don't like it, ask your dealer to put a set of these stops on and try it that way. I think you're going to like the bow quite a bit better with the stops on, especially if you're getting down into the lower draw weights where you're probably looking for a little less holding weight also. If the dealer doesn't have them, have them get a hold of me and we'll work something out. The other way you could get the stops, if you have the bow and you're looking for the stops, you can order them directly off of my website. It's lucky-stops.com. If you got any questions, my contact information is on the website. Shoot me an email. I actually will answer it. We will be releasing more limb stops for the Bowtech bows and the diamond bows, and we'll also be releasing some for the gearheads here in the future. So again, I hope this was all helpful. I hope you understand these numbers. I know it's kind of a lot of a jumbo. I've got a lot more numbers than what I've wrote down here, but I think this is probably already a little more information than you want. So until the next video, just keep shooting.